Hello there guys, and welcome to another Forza Horizon 5 video on my channel. So we are currently in the second week of Series 30, which means it is the autumn/storm season, and it also means that I am back with another full festival playlist guide for you all. So this will, as always, contain all you need to know in relation to this week's challenges and events, and that includes all of my tips and tricks for each and every individual event across the whole of the playlist, as well as the occasional visual demonstration for some challenges, namely the PR Stunts, and of course not forgetting my suggested cars and tunes to hopefully help you on your way to completion. So, for those of you who are new here, nice to meet you and thank you for joining the Shylo Gaming virtual community. Do not hesitate to like and subscribe if you do like what you see. You'll probably be able to figure that out once you've watched a bit of the video. And I'm always here to help in the comments or on Xbox or Discord, so feel free to ask any questions you'd like about the content of the videos, and I'll be happy to help you out. So if you are a new viewer here, I can inform you that as per every guide here on the channel, we'll be starting off by looking at the season and series rewards, which we'll do in a second, just so you know what you're aiming for when you complete these challenges. And the veterans watching will of course be well aware of the typical structure of these videos, but I like to include all of you when I talk about this. So without any further ado, let's begin looking at this week's playlist and the aforementioned rewards. So, starting off with the seasonal rewards, we have our 20 points and 40 points rewards, and these are always either new exclusives with the current update that we're in, they are exclusives reappearing from previous updates, or they are other hard to obtain vehicles that are highly sought after by the community in some shape or fashion. So the same goes for the series rewards as well, which we'll come to in just a second. So the first of the two, the seasonal rewards, which should theoretically take you around half an hour to unlock if you take on board some of my advice, is the Link & Co 02HB. And the second, hopefully taking no longer than an hour or so, is the number 20 MG MG6, and that is kind of a touring car. The first one's a kind of a crossover thing. Not sure if any of you would have heard of Link & Co before they came into the game. I certainly hadn't, but that is there for 20 points, and then the MG for 40 points. So moving over to our series rewards here. These can be unlocked by obtaining a load of points across the whole series, so that is all 4 seasons or weeks, depending on how you may refer to that. And you will of course need a certain amount of points out of the total for each week to work towards these. So to keep it simple, 20 points each week will get you your 80 points reward here, and 40 points every week will enable you access to the 160 points reward. But obviously that's only a rough guide as to what you'll need to do each week, just kind of a structured thing. So for anyway, 80 points, this series is the 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 6. I remember to pronounce Hyundai the way that they insist on you pronounce it now. It's not Hyundai anymore. Well, it probably never was, but they only really, whoever they brought in decides to be very insistent that you pronounce it correctly. So that is the first of 2 electric cars, because then for 160 points we have the Neo EP9, another electric car. I believe they added that in one of the first series, so we're up to series 30 now. It's probably been in the game for about 1.5 years. Bit of an interesting car. Again, I'd never heard of Neo before it came into Forza, but here we are. So that is all of your rewards. So we'll be moving over to our first section now, so let's head over back to the autumn section of the festival playlist. We will now be moving on to our first section, as I've just said, and that means that we will attack, if you can refer to it like that, this week's festival playlist section by section, as we always do, in chronological order. And as I've already said, covering every single challenge along the way, so we will not be missing out any of the challenges in this week's festival playlist. So that means that first up is the Forzathon section, and that covers the Forzathon weekly challenge, 7 daily challenges releasing across the week, and a Forzathon shop to spend your well-earned points. So to start then, we have this week's weekly Forzathon challenge, No Expense Spared. Completing this will get you 5 points towards your reward cars and also some Forzathon points, so that is 80 Forzathon points as standard, and that will double to 160 if you own the La Casa Solariga player house, and that house comes free with a VIP pass. It gives you double Forzathon points in any Forzathon related event, and that includes Horizon Arcade, where Forzathon points are your reward for completing each round. So I certainly recommend that you purchase that house and get that extra boost when you're completing all of these Forzathon related events. So it is also important to note that the car mentioned in chapter 1 is required for all the chapters in the weekly challenge, unless of course it states otherwise, or there is an option on what car you choose. That is not the case in this week's weekly challenge. But speaking of the week the what am I on about? The weekly challenge for this week is based on the 2010 Lexus LFA, and you can buy that in the auto show. However, it's also available for the trial, so we'll be coming to the trial a bit later in the video, but it is available from completing the trial as well. So you may want to complete that first and get your Lexus for the weekly challenge from that. You may also already own it, or as I said, it is in the auto show and the auction house. So you'll need to own and drive that for the primary chapter of this event, 1 of 500. So let's hop in it and see what the other chapters are for this Forzathon event. One thing that isn't mentioned in the actual detailing of the Forzathon weekly challenge is whether or not you need to tune your car. Sometimes it does say explicitly you need to tune your car to X class or whatever. However, in most cases that doesn't happen, so if you do want to apply a tune, it isn't mandatory. However, if you do want to, I usually have a tune shared for you, and for this one I've got the tune that I used for the last time that this car appeared in a Forzathon event, which was just around a year ago now, 2 years ago now, 2022, because we're in 2024 now, aren't we? So it's called Crazy Forzathon. There's actually 2 versions of it. I'm not really sure why. However, one of them has got no stars and one of them's got 1 star, so I'm not sure whether one of them hasn't shared properly. However, if you search up my gamer tag Shylo 2017, you should be able to get that. If not, I'll pop the share code up for you here. As you can see there, there's the share code for you. So if you do want to apply it, like I said, it's not mandatory that you do so, but it may just help you get the Forzathon event completed a bit quicker. Sometimes it's more beneficial than others, but it will help you to complete this event. So, once you're in your LFA and you've decided whether you want to put a tune on it or not, you can move on to Chapter 2, Best Speedometer Ever. All you need to do for this one is to earn 200 miles an hour. Now, if you apply my tune that I've just talked about, you'll be able to do that on pretty much any road in the game because it's that fast acceleration. However, perhaps if you're running a slower tune or stock or whatever, or you just want to make sure that you get it completed nice and quickly, head over to the highway, put your foot down and you'll be there in absolutely no time at all. Obviously it'll take longer to get there depending on what tune you've got on your LFA, hence why I say that a tune can sometimes be beneficial to you. So once you've reached 200 miles an hour, you can move on to Chapter 3, which is called Apex is in the name. And all you need to do for this one is win 2 road circuit events. So obviously for this one, you need to make sure that you're not going to pick a sprint event. So when you filter your map to road events, make sure you're not picking one that's got sprint in the name. You'll be able to tell because the actual where it pops up on the map, you'll be able to see that it's a circuit, whereas if it's a sprint, it'll be from A to B and there'll be no kind of conjoining part. You may also use blueprint events for this one, so you can make your own blueprint events. Say you want to make it 1 lap so that you get it done quicker rather than doing the standard 3 laps, or some people make EventLab events where you get an instant finish. These can sometimes be a bit iffy, some of them work, some of them don't. I've heard things in the past where it bugs your treasure hunt or something like that. Not sure how true that is. However, if you want to play safe, just enter a normal event. Like I say, you can blueprint it to 1 lap. However, make sure that the driver tires are on there and everything. Keep it stock in that respect. And once you've won 2 of them, you'll need to back out after the first one into free roam and then enter it again, because restarting, it'll just keep counting that as 1 if you keep restarting it. So make sure you've completed 2 of them separately. It can be the same one, it can be different ones, and once you've done that, you can move on to the final chapter, Ring Wrath, and that wants you to take it on a 20-mile drive. Now, I think that's between 30 and 35 kilometres as far as I'm aware. It is quite a while. It's probably most of the way around the outer of the map, so if you kind of follow the route of the Goliath, get most of the way around, and that'll probably do it. Alternatively, you could head back over to the highway, gun it up and down the highway, probably between 5 and 10 times, and again, having a tune on will make your life much quicker and easier there. However, if you're a bit like me, you might like a cruise, you might just want to cruise around. Completely up to you, whichever way you choose to do it. Once you've been on your 20-mile drive, you'll have completed the Forzathon weekly challenge, no expense spared. Okay then, so the second event of the week is the daily Forzathon challenges. So there are 7 of these, and they'll release 1 each day for the entirety of the week, and they last for 7 days each. So that means that 6 of them will overlap into the winter season, and gradually throughout the week they'll they'll overlap further into the winter week because they last for 7 days each, as I said. So these are usually quite self-explanatory. So like the first one, take a photo in the stadium Lunar Drift Arena. Simply go over to the arena, open up photo mode, take a photo. So they're usually quite simple things like that. Sometimes PR stunts, sometimes races, tuning, get in a certain car, do certain things. However, if you're having any difficulty with them at all, do not hesitate to contact me. Like I said at the start of the video, in the comments on Xbox or on Discord, I'll be happy to help you out. I'll give you advice, tunes, whatever you need to get these challenges completed. I tend to do them in batches, so if I need a couple of extra points to get my 40 point reward by the time I've done most of the other challenges, I'll use the daily challenges and I'll just complete a couple of them at once. So it's up to you whether you want to come on each day, do them, or whichever your approach is to the festival playlist. However, we won't spend any further time on these and we'll move swiftly over to the Horizon Forzathon shop. So this week it contains the Lamborghini Cyan Roadster from 2020, so 850 Forzathon points for that one. That is quite expensive, I must admit. However, as far as I'm aware, this is an exclusive car that was like the Lincoln Co and the MG6 this season, exclusive cars for the festival playlist rewards. I believe that the Cyan Roadster was an exclusive reward in one of the seasons, or in one of the series. However, I'm not sure on that. So 850 Forzathon points, you may not have that many. I personally have nearly 20,000, however you may not have that many. So completely up to you on that one. And then we have the Ford Mustang RTR from, well, that's kind of a drift car for 400 Forzathon points there. Again, up to you whether you want to spend any on that. We have the White Drift Zone T and the So Cute emote on the usual wheel spins and super wheel spins. So that wraps up the Forzathon events section. Okay then, so following on from our first section, Forzathon events, we have the seasonal events section, which this week covers the trial. We have 3 times EventLabs, 3 times seasonal PR stunts, and 3 times seasonal championships. So as always, we will start with the trial. So, for those of you who don't know, the way the trial works revolves around the co-op team system. So you are part of a team of up to 6 players, usually randoms unless you're part of a convoy, and that convoy can of course only be up to 6 people to enter this event rather than the usual convoy maximum of 12 players. So your team has the aim of trying to defeat the opposing team, which is 6 driver tars set to unbeatable difficulty, and in order to do this you must rack up points, which you do by overtaking the driver tars vehicles. However, they also get points for overtaking you and your team, so it requires a team effort to win in a best of 3 set of races. So hence, try not to ram your teammates, as you're actually not racing them, you're racing the driver tars. So now for the event itself, and this week's trial is called Pursuit of Perfection. It will get you a huge 10 points towards your seasonal reward cars, and also the event completion reward of the Lexus LFA, which we mentioned before in relation to the weekly Forzathon challenge. So as I mentioned in the intro, I'll be offering the car and tune suggestions for each event we go through, so let's head over to my garage where we'll look at which cars I've favorited to share with you all. And the restriction for this one, by the way, is A-Class Lexus. It is on street racing, so let's head over and see what cars I've got for you. So here we are, and for this event I have just the one car and its tune to showcase for you. So it is the 2015 Lexus RCF. Now this is more of a grip build, so you should be able to send it through the corners a bit, although do not try to compare it to a Sesto FE or a VW IDR, because it isn't quite on that level. However, it's got a decent amount of power. I've swapped in the 6.2 litre V8 for a bit of extra torque, and just because it's also a bit of a lighter engine than the stock V8. So it's got plenty of power, but as I said, there is a focus on grip. It's running rally tyres, the body kit, the huge wing, etc. So even though it is rear wheel drive, you'll probably not be able to notice at all, because once you've got off the line with launch control, you hardly be able to tell at all. It grips to the road really well, and hopefully you'll be able to control it nicely for the event. So that one is shared under my gamer tag Shylo 2017, as are all the others. So next up on the agenda is a selection of community EventLab events that the developers have selected to feature here. So this week we have 3 of them to work through, so let's get cracking and hope they are a good selection. So the first one this week comes from the legendary Don Joewon Song, and it is titled Dystopia Ruins, and it seems to be a take on the Utopia Gardens that Don created, and as he says here, it's chapter 2 of the Utopian Saga. So the restriction for this one is A-Class Off-Road and then also A-Class Unlimited Off-Road. So let's head back to my garage for the next set of favoured cars. And also just to mention, by completing this you'll get yourself 3 points towards the playlist and a super wheel spin. So this time I have got 4 suggestions for you from these 2 categories. So remember, it's off-road and unlimited off-road. So the first one is the number 99 Chip Ganassi Racing Extreme E vehicle. Now you may notice that all of the Extreme E vehicles are exactly the same, however they've just got a different paint job on because all of the cars in the Extreme E Championships are exactly the same, however they're just raced by different teams, hence the different liveries. So this one that I've got the tune on is actually the one that you can buy in the auto show, because as far as I'm aware the rest of them are festival playlist exclusives or something else, i.e. not available in the auto show. So it's in there for 700,000 credits, so quite expensive. However, once you've got this one you don't really need to have any of the others, to be frank. It's basically, I've just upgraded the motor. That's pretty much all you can do to these cars. However, it's reasonably fun to drive. I quite enjoy driving it on the wheel. Then we also have my take on the Ford 25 Brockie. So this is from the Unlimited Off-Road section, running the Racing V8. Also running the Racing V8 is the 2016 Jeep Trailcat, and this car featured in my FH5 2 years video, so I've managed to plug that again. I think ever since I've done that video, every video that I've done since on the festival playlist, I've been able to feature the Jeep Trailcat and plug that video, which is nice. And then finally we have the welcome back version of the Ford Bronco R 2069. So I've done nothing to this one, so the rest of them are all tuned by me, but this one is the developer's tune. So if you do fancy taking it, you do need the welcome pack, and that is available with the premium add-ons bundle. Our next event lab for this week is from Joel Hees, and it is Autodromo Int B Cecilia. It will get you 3 points towards the playlist and some form of clothing reward there, and a t-shirt, shall we say. So I'm not going to attempt to read any of that, so apologies to the whatever language that is. I believe it's Spanish or it may be Portuguese, but I'm not going to butcher that. I'm just going to, leave it. So the restriction for this one is A-Class Retro Supercars. Righto, so I have 3 suggestions for you for this one, and it can be said, I suppose, that they are quite diverse. So starting off, we have the 1987 Ferrari F40. The livery on this one is probably better than the tune, both of which were created by me. So if you do want to download the livery as well, it is shared. I imported it from Horizon 4 where it was first made, and since doing that, it instantly got loads of downloads, and I think we're on around 3,500 now, which is quite impressive, considering that it's quite simple as well. So the tune I think I made for a PR stunt, so it's not really a race tune. However, if you like purist builds, then by all means do take that one. Then we have the 1997 Lamborghini Diablo, that is the SV version, rear wheel drive drag tyres. As long as you don't absolutely plant your foot down halfway around a corner, it should be absolutely fine. Obviously the launch and the braking are really good as well. And then finally over here, if you want a more balanced build, more controllable, maybe if you're a bit new to the game and you want to ease yourself in, by all means, we have the 2004 Porsche 911 GT3, all-wheel drive, tiny bit of understeer, however it should be quite controllable, and I do apologise for putting the Forza wing on that one. And to wrap up our EventLabs series of the video, we have JCO Project Race to Refinery from Josie, another legendary EventLab creator there. This will get you a Ford Falcon from 1972 and 3 points, and the restriction for this final event lab is B-Class Retro Muscle. So a bunch of boats basically. Now I must admit I'm slacking a bit on the tuning on this one because I've created 2 practically undrivable cars. So first off we have the 1988 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Now I'm not really sure what this is supposed to be. I've created it in the past and I'm not quite sure whether it's supposed to be a drift build or a race build or maybe a PR Stunts build. However, it's all-wheel drive, it's got 600 horsepower, Forza aero, but it does not turn at all and the brakes are shocking, so I'm not really sure what it's for. However, if you want to suffer bags of understeer, then that's the car for you. And then we also have the Ford SVT Cobra R from 1993, and I stupidly decided to create a power build out of this one, so cheapest car probably in the category, and I've put a 7 litre V12 or V8 in it, 1000 horsepower. You will need traction control, that's for definite, unless you've got some absolutely incredible throttle control skills. But yes, I do apologise for the slack tuning skills there. Following on from our EventLabs, we now have some seasonal PR stunts, and I would say that a lot of my regular viewers enjoyed this part of the video, because I usually include some clips of me completing the stunts after we've been through what we need to do, and this can sometimes also include some fails, which of course shows that I am indeed human. So anyway, let's get straight into what is required for these stunts. So there are 3 of them this week, and they will get you 2 points towards the playlist and a super wheel spin for each one. So our events this week are the Switchback Speed Zone, the Ring Road Speed Zone, and the Cliffside Speed Zone. We'll quickly check out the restriction, I'll give you my cars, and then I shall attempt them myself and include some short clips for you to see how I approach these seasonal stunts, and of course, there is the possibility that I will fail them. So, our restriction for this week's stunts is A-Class Lincoln Co. And my suggested cars for this restriction, bearing in mind they are not race events or anything like that, are as follows. And some may be more applicable to some stunts than others, so I'll let you use your own judgment on which ones to take for each stunt. That's a more generic statement. For this one, probably either of them will be good for all of them. So, let's head over to my garage, see what we've got, and then I'll roll the clips. So, with it being Lincoln Co, we are not left with much choice to start with anyway, and considering that one of the Lincoln Co's in the game is the 20-point reward, and the other one aside from these two is in the new Chinese Lucky Stars pack, we've only got 2 to look at. So we've got the Lincoln Co 03 Plus from 2021, and then we've got the same car but in Cyan Racing touring car form, similar to the MG6 that we saw before. So one of them's all-wheel drive, one of them's front-wheel drive. Both of them are, of course, focused on grip. To be honest with you, either of them will suit you fine for all of these. They practically do the same job, so take your pick, and I'll go and do these PR stunts for you now. I should mention as well that the tune for the Lincoln Co 03 Plus is by me. However, for the touring car version, that is completely stock, so I have not done anything to that. So when you unlock it, it is a Festival Playlist exclusive, but when you have unlocked it, that is exactly how I am using it. But the other one is tuned by me. Moving away from the PR stunts, we now have 3 seasonal championships to work through. So these can be completed either in solo or co-op mode, although if you are completing them with a convoy, avoid the PvP option, as that means only one of you will receive the reward. Playing solo will mean you'll spawn back into free roam after each event, and are then required to drive or fast travel to each of the other events, which will be marked in a white and red colour on your map once you've entered the event. So you can filter to seasonal events on your map to help you find these. The co-op version will automatically fast travel you and your teammates to each event, and it will work the same way as the trial. However, these championships should be locked to highly skilled driver tire difficulty as opposed to unbeatable. So this week's first seasonal championship is called To Infinity and Beyond. It will get you 5 points towards your Festival Playlist rewards, and also a 777 Nissan 240 drift car. So it is based on road racing, and the restriction for this one is A-Class Nissan and A-Class Infinity. So you know exactly where we will be heading now. So, I do not have any Infinity tuned to A-Class, and to be honest with you, there's only one in the game anyway. I quite love the Q50 that was in Horizon 4, so I'm not sure why that isn't in 5. However, I do have two Nissans for you. So we have, firstly, the 1998 Nissan Silvia K's Aero. That is a purist build. I actually built that on one of my streams, and it's turned out to be a really competitive car. So it's got plenty of power. It's also got a decent bit of grip, and it's overall quite a fun car to drive. However, if you want a more balanced and OP car, we have the 2002 Nissan GTR Skyline R32. That is running 550 horsepower, so quite a lot of power. Also a decent bit of grip as well, and obviously with the all-wheel drive you've got the stability and the launch. The next championship of the autumn season is Last Chance Saloon, which is based on road racing once again, and its reward point is 5 points towards the playlist and a Lincoln Co. 03 Plus, which of course we mentioned in relation to the PR Stunts, so that will be handy for you to unlock if you need it for the PR Stunts, as it is an exclusive car. So, the restriction for this one is B-Class Retro Saloon, so let's head over to my garage and see what I've got from that category. Now then, impressively, I have 5 suggested cars for this seasonal championship with the B-Class Retro Saloon, so let's head straight into it. So we have the 1992 Alfa Romeo 155 Q4. Now this and the Audi Avant RS2 here from 1995 were both created for one of the challenges in that FH5 2 years video that I mentioned earlier in relation to the Trailcat. They didn't quite make the cut. They weren't quite quick enough for the challenge that was required. However, they are both still really good cars, and they weren't that far off the pace in the end. So of course they are made for dirt racing. Both of them are running off-road tyres. However, you can still use them for road racing, especially in the wet of the storm season. The off-road tyres will definitely benefit you through the corners there, and obviously the grip is really beneficial as well. Then moving along here, we have the Ford Sierra Cosworth RS500. That is a more purist tune, so for those of you that want a purist tune, you have it right there. It's a really nice drive. And then moving right the way along here to the end, we have the Volvo 850R from 1997. Front wheel drive, off-road rally tired car. Really good fun chucking it through the corners. So hopefully any of those cars will help you to complete the seasonal championship. Okay, and to round up the seasonal championships and the whole season events section, we have the seasonal championship heavy duty dash. It is cross country, and it will get you 5 points and a Deberti F150. The restriction for this final championship is B-class pickups and 4x4s. Once again, I have just the 3 suggestions for this championship in relation to our pickups and 4x4s. So firstly, we have the 2017 Chevrolet Colorado ZR2. So this is obviously a pickup. It's running the 6.2 litre V8 with just over 600 horsepower. Really nice build, and also I do like the livery on there. I haven't created that one, however I do like the livery of the Horizon Festival theme. Then we also have the 2017 Ford F-150 Raptor, similar kind of thing, 6.2 litre V8 once again. Bit less power this time, also a bit heavier I believe, but again, really good build for that one. And then finally over here we have the 2013 Mercedes-Benz G65 AMG. This one again running off-road tyres, the nice rainbow livery there from Northern Lemming. You may have seen them in the comments of some of my videos previously. 650 horsepower, I think it's around that stock, so I haven't really done much to this tune. However, it's really nice, it does grip quite well, and obviously for cross-country it's a really balanced car. So hopefully any of those tunes that are all shared under my gamer tag will help you to complete this seasonal championship. That wraps up our second section, season events, which means we can now progress over to the third section, challenges. Do note that these latter 3 sections are considerably shorter than the others, especially compared to the last section, so we won't be spending as much time on these as we have on the previous 2. So anyway, cracking on, this challenges section covers this week a treasure hunt and a photo challenge. We will of course start with the first challenge of the challenges section, the treasure hunt, which this season is called Riding a Tiger Hard to Get Off. Once you successfully smash through the chest, you'll have earned yourself 3 points and 300 Forzathon points to splash out on something nice. So for this event, the way I work through this is primarily to take a look at and decipher the treasure clue before completing the clue myself to unlock the chest location clue, and then showing you the exact location of the chest if you are having any issues finding it. I do have to say, disclaimer, that if you do not want to see the location of the chest and you'd prefer to find it yourself, then do be warned that you will either have to pause the video and go ahead and do so, or skip to the next event of the video if you aren't planning on completing it at the time of watching. So you can of course listen to me breaking down the clue and advising on what you need to do, but after that you may wish to skip me showing the location. So our clue for the treasure hunt is as follows. It may not be a tiger, but a big cat, that's for sure. Send it sideways 3 times and the treasure you'll secure. So, you may be wondering what car you need to be in. I would say that we're looking at Jaguar for this one. You know, listening to the fact that it says big cat, and Jaguar is of course a big cat in the animal world. So I would say hop in any Jaguar, and then looking at the part of the clue that says sideways 3 times, I would recommend that you need to get 3 drift skills. So whether this needs to be drift, great drift, awesome drift, or ultimate drift, I don't think that should matter. So say you've got drift and then it flowed into a great drift and an awesome drift and an ultimate drift, it may count that as 1 or it may count it as 3. But ultimately all you need to do is get 3 drift skills in any Jaguar, and that should complete the challenge. I will of course go and check that now to make sure that that is correct, and once I've done so I will show you the exact location of the chest. Also to mention is that once you have completed the treasure challenge, a message will pop up on your screen saying treasure challenge completed, and you can then refer back to this icon here that I am currently on in the festival playlist, and that will have changed to display an image of the rough location of the chest to give you an extra hint as to where it is. So it'll be somewhere within the orange circle that has popped up on your map once you've completed the treasure challenge, and it can help to think that it works almost in the same way as barn finds. So let me go and complete it and show you the exact location of the chest. Okay then, so this is the orange circle that you will be given once you have completed the treasure challenge, and then if you head back to your festival playlist, like I said, the icon will have changed to give you a clue. And that shows there it is in front of one of the dragons, so you're looking to aim for one of the dragon's heads. And then if you head to this area right here, pretty much smack bang in the middle of the arena, you will see where it is located. So I'll drive up to it here and I'll show you on the map exactly where it is. So like I said, it's almost smack bang in the middle by one of the dragon's heads. And then all you need to do, smash through it and you'll get yourself 3 points and 300 Forzathon points as well. Succeeding that treasure hunt, we have a rather simple photo challenge to ease things down a bit again. So this week's photo challenge is #Lunar Lookout, and it will get you 2 points and a snap emote reward. It wants you to take a photo of one of the 3 Lunar Lookout viewing platforms at the Stadium Lunar Drift Arena. Nice and simple, follow the instructions, open up photo mode and take that photo. So you don't need to go for anything fancy unless you really want to. And you should get some golden ticks, golden sticker, and when you return to free roam you should have a nice completion message at the bottom of your screen. So of course we have just been to the Stadium Arena for the location of the treasure chest, and what you'll notice is there is these ramps around the side of the arena like so. All you need to do is drive up one of them ramps. There are 3 of them surrounding the whole of the arena. Open up photo mode, take your photo, and you don't need to be in any specific car at all, so you can stay in the Jaguar for example that you've used for the treasure hunt, and once you've done so, like I said, it should be completed for you. Okay then, we now move swiftly on to the second to last section, which is monthly events. This week, or should I say this month, it contains 4 monthly Rivals events. 2 of them are standard monthly Rivals, and then 2 of them, as you can see, are the Forza EV Rivals, featuring some of the electric vehicles that we have in the game. So for all of these, all you need to do is post a clean lap to complete them. You have to complete them all separately, but it is a very, very simple challenge. All you need to do is post a clean lap, as I said. So to do so, you basically need to make sure that you don't hit anything, because that will flag your time. You're not allowed to use rewind, and obviously make sure you don't miss any checkpoints where you'll get reset, or if you somehow manage to flip your car and get reset, then that will also flag your time. So if you notice an exclamation mark next to your time when you cross the finish line, that means that your lap is dirty and you basically don't want that to happen. So if it means that you drive around really slow, Make sure that you don't do any of those things that I've just mentioned, and get a clean lap. Absolutely fine. You do not need to beat your rival, and once you have posted or crossed the finish line with a clean time, you can quit out of the event and it should have completed it. And as I said, you'll have to complete that for all of them in the 4 events. And you can do this in any week of the month, so you don't necessarily have to do it this week. You could have done it last week, so you may already have done this, or you can do it in winter and spring as well. So regardless of which week you complete it in, it will add your points onto the other series, onto the series and the other seasons. So as you can see here, you get 4 points for each of the events. That will be added onto the series, and then for each of them that will be split across the season. So of course you'll get 1 point each week for each of the events, and then when you add all 4 of them up, that'll be 4 points each week and 16 points for the series. So very, very simple, and that is all you need to do for them monthly events. We have now reached the latter section of the video. It is the expansion events, covering the Rally Adventure events and the Hot Wheels events. Now, of course, you do have to own both of these expansions to be able to access these events, and there's also a certain point in the progression of those expansions where you'll be able to access the Festival Playlist challenges. So, for example, on the Hot Wheels expansion, you need to reach the S2 class car class in the career mode to be able to access the Festival Playlist events, so you do have to play through them to a certain degree, and these expansions are available as an expansion bundle, which gets you both of them, or they are part of the premium add-ons bundle for the game. So if you don't own that, you won't be able to access these events. So we have a speed trap on both of them, and they require S1 class TVR. So the cars pictured in them screenshots there are the cars that I have got tuned. So I've got a tune for the TVR Cerberus Speed 12 there for the Hammer's Shadow Speed Trap, and that is shared under my gamertag. And then on one of the EventLabs earlier, we mentioned Don Joewon Song, and he's got a tune for the TVR Griffith, pictured in the Junior Escapada Speed Trap here. And if you go and download that one, I believe it's called S1 Dirt or something like that, or S1 Road Grip. And that is the tune that I have got applied for the TVR Griffith for that one. And then we have a seasonal championship on both, which requires B-Class Volvo, so you can use the Volvo 850R from before, and A-Class World Fastest. Now, to be frank, I don't really know what that includes. I think it's mostly rare cars. However, if you do want to complete them, I'll be more than happy to suggest some cars in the comments if you ask me to. Well, that wraps up today's video, guys, so I hope you've enjoyed my full walkthrough of the autumn storm season of Series 30 Lunar New Year. If you have enjoyed, it'd be greatly appreciated if you could like the video, potentially subscribe to the channel, and if you do so, do not forget to turn on your notifications so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. Hopefully we'll continue now uploading one of these videos every week after that mishap last week, so I do apologise for that. I do realise that I didn't post a video last week. Of course, that was basically caused by my USB, and my USB combination of that and the USB sockets on my Xbox. So I did put a post out on the community section regarding that. However, basically I couldn't connect my USB to the Xbox, and without that I cannot record thanks to the Xbox app. So that is a separate issue, of course, but we won't go into that. So yes, apologies for not uploading last week. However, hopefully we're now back in the groove. I hope we're able to plough on again for another few months without any interruptions, fingers crossed, touch wood, etc. So I will try to get live streams underway. I know I've said that in most of the videos this year, but obviously with the issue last week and various other things, I haven't been able to get that underway yet. I also do plan to do a little video explaining about how live streams will work, because I can't do them on YouTube anymore thanks to that Xbox app issue, so they will be moving over to Twitch as per the last 2 live streams that I've done before the new year. So I will do a quick video explaining on that, but until then, I hope you enjoy your festival playlist. Keep safe, of course, and I will see you hopefully in the next video, and I hope to get that out next week for you for the winter festival playlist. So thank you very much for watching once again, and I will hope to see you then. Bye!